The original AUKUS deal, that was a surprise announcement that just appeared out of nowhere in 2021, and Scott Morrison was recently described as the architect and the father of AUKUS, and that would have been news to the United States. But with most of Australia's defence arrangements, it's not like the Australian Prime Minister of the day sits down and thinks, oh, hang on, we need something like Pine Gap in Australia, or some sort of deal to purchase some new nuclear submarines. The US would have told Australia in this situation that this is what's going to happen, and then Australia has to pay for it and manage the issues politically on the domestic front. And this really is quite a big deal. And aside from the merits of the AUKUS or otherwise, and I don't really think that it's worth the money or worth the strategic merits of what they're trying to achieve, $368 billion, even if it is spent over 30 years, and good luck if you think that it's going to be contained at $368 billion, that's a lot of money and foregone revenue that could be used for so many other different things in Australia. And the opposition leader, Peter Dutton, has even said that he'll support a cutback in the National Disability Insurance Scheme to support AUKUS. And I noticed that he didn't suggest maybe cutting back the stage 3 tax cuts to support the cost of AUKUS, nor did the federal government. But governments do have choices about where they spend their money and how much. But the Labor government can't say that it hasn't got enough money for things such as increasing Newstart or better funding for schools, hospitals or education or aged care, and nor can the opposition for that matter. But whenever there's a belt-tightening budget or claims that we just haven't got the money to pay for all of the useful things in Australia, well, people can just point to AUKUS and say, well, there you go, you're spending $368 billion on this unaccountable program. Now you should be spending all the money in the world on these other things as well. And I think this should also make the next budget released in May quite an interesting exercise, both in terms of finances and politics as well.
It's the first budget, and of course this is where you put all the bad stuff, with the hope that people forget it by the third budget when the election rolls around. I will be fair here, and now we'll get the people saying, oh, you're just shills for Labor. I do genuinely try and look at everything from as many perspectives as I can imagine. The government is in a difficult position. There are a couple of things that I don't understand, which I will be critical of. I'm not critical of them because I don't understand them. It's the not understanding that makes me think there's something going on here. But they're in a contract. They had to honour this contract. It doesn't go well when you don't honour a contract. It can cost more money than it is. The contract was signed by the Australian government, but under a different management. But Labor inherited this. I don't quite understand why they're praising it so high. Yes, you need to announce it, but they've announced it as a feel-good thing and great news for Australia, which, one, I don't understand why you'd go down that role because no one's going to be convinced. I understand that Labor has to honour a contract. And of course, Australia now also has the reputation of not honouring their contracts, thanks to a certain Prime Minister who shall not be named, who went behind the back of the French and cancelled the better contract they had to get this one in.